I'm sure we've all had the situation where no matter what question we ask for ourselves, I'm going to call it the haunting card, not the stalker card, because this is the card that just keeps coming back in every spread, and it's the card you don't want to see. It's going to be different for all of us, and it's going to definitely depend as to where you are in your life, as to which one it is. Often it's the Five of Pentacles, could be the Seven of Swords, the Tower, death, whatever. For me at the moment, it's the Nine of Wands. And, we sit down with our cards. Maybe you've got your journal out. Maybe you've got a nice cup of tea and you just really want some good quality spiritual uplift from your cards. And even as you're shuffling, that small little voice in your head is going, please not that card. Please not that card. The number of times I've done this for myself, I've done a beautiful 9-card reading. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yes. At last, I've moved on from my haunting card, turned the pack upside down, and there it is. So if the fear of one card is beginning to ruin your relationship with tarot, this is my advice. Sadly, you cannot take the card out and rip it up. It's not going to help you at all. But what you could do is you could consciously take out the card that is haunting you, the card that you don't want to see, and make it center stage. Because now I've put this card here, hey, it can't come up in the reading. That's a bonus. And the more that you understand the message from your haunting card, the less likely it is to come back. And there's so many ways you could do this. Now, what I'm not suggesting is that you now tuck this in a book somewhere and, put it at the bottom of your bookcase. We've only taken it out for this one spread or this one reading session. So the first thing you could ask that card is, what do I need to do right now to integrate the wisdom you are trying to tell me? Because if you've got a stalker or a haunting card keep on coming back, it's trying to tell you something and you haven't listened. So try that. And I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask nice and clearly, what do I need to do in my life to mean that I've learnt the lessons from the Nine of Wands and I can move on from it? And I'm just going to pull 3 cards and then, of course, look at the card at the bottom of the pack. The Seven of Wands. I need to get on top of my life. So I definitely do. I have a habit of taking on too much, which is a trauma response, and then feeling overwhelmed by everything I've taken on. That's a bit stupid. So the first thing is the Seven of Wands. I need to get to a place where I feel like I'm in charge of my own life. And I am doing that. I am decluttering. I'm trying to have better operating systems for my life, not just my working life, but I run a family home as well. So yeah, to get to a point where I feel like I'm on top of my responsibilities instead of being surrounded and drowned by them. The Queen of Cups, my old nemesis card. I actually need to stop and spend time with my own emotions because my hypervigilance and work addiction sort of side to myself is a way of avoiding sitting and processing my emotions. I know that. I'm working on it. I can do better. And I really acknowledge that. And interestingly, the Three of Cups. When I get into this state of mind, when I feel hypervigilant, overwhelmed by my responsibilities, I tend to isolate myself. I tend to go into reading, playing like Tetris style games, and I tend to cancel social engagements. I have no doubt that there are many of you watching this nodding, thinking, oh my God, that's me, because it's a very common pattern. So this really resonates with me. The card at the bottom of the pack is, I think, now, when we've got cards that we're uncomfortable seeing, and I think the Tower is a very common one that people are uncomfortable seeing, moving away from prediction readings helps us to feel safe and comfortable. This is not a prediction spread. Therefore, the Tower is not warning me that there is a big shift coming. It is reminding me, I think, and this really resonates with me, that this is a trauma response from past times when life really did feel out of control and out of control. So there is a direct link between these two cards. And these three cards really resonate with me. What I would suggest, if you're doing this for yourself, is that you get out your journal, you bullet point what these three cards practically mean to you. I've got a couple of crib sheets on my website. If you haven't got my book, which has got loads of keywords that would be really helpful for this spread, there are crib sheets on my website. I will drop a link in the description of this video. And then that's sort of like the gentle opening, if you like. A good way of thinking about this is to maybe track where this card is in your life. You have hopefully now slightly improved the next reading by really sitting with that, what the cards had to say to you. Because remember, each time you integrate the wisdom from the cards, you slightly improve your future. That is the beautiful thing about tarot. So I'm going to acknowledge that I am still living with a trauma-based response. And I'm going to do a more classic past, present, future card spread, and I'm going to say to the cards, because remember, when we're reading with the cards, we're having a conversation. The future's not fixed. We are having a conversation with the cards to improve our future. So I'm saying, okay, I have had a conversation about my haunting card. I acknowledge that I haven't fully released the trauma response. Now I want to look at my past, present, future, holding that trauma response as my big block. And I want help. I am very grateful. If you've followed my videos for long, you'll know that I've got a great relationship with my kids. They all still live with me. And I may be a solo mum, but we have a good family unit. Actually, the payoff of having a slight workaholic nature means that I have built a really strong business that I enjoy and am proud of. And the honest truth is, this is for the past. I've already started to make changes. I've booked a holiday next year on my own. I've started committing to social things that in the past I would have believed I didn't have time for. So the cards to represent the past, they should resonate with you. They should sit with you. Now we're going to do practical advice. And hopefully you can remember this as a card that I've already had. One of the reasons that I like to do lots of small repeat readings is that, for the same question, is that when repeat cards come back, they're really important. So getting on top of life, getting so that I'm at least half a step ahead of my responsibilities and commitments is really important. Not getting lost in being busy if it's not helpful. And I have a really bad habit of doing this, of saying, right, I'm going to, do some jewelry making or read a book or go for a walk. And then I start cleaning or tidying or updating my website. And before I know it, that window of opportunity where I was going to do something relaxing, enjoyable or social has gone. So I'm taking that these are advice cards. So I'm taking that on board. And yeah, the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is often about making changes to your routine so that you have a better understanding of what's going on. People think this is moving on and letting go. It can be, but at the point that we see the card, this is an eclipse here. We know it's an eclipse because there was an eclipse in Sussex at the same time that Pamela Colman Smith was painting this card in Sussex. And this is somebody with their red boots and their red cloak and their golden staff moving up to a place of higher perspective so they can see the life that they're building. And for me, I can really now, and the way that I do this is I'm constantly cross-referencing the meanings from different cards. When I started my business, when I moved into being a solo mum, I didn't want my business to be the vast majority of how I spend my time. I had a better vision for what I wanted from life, and I've kind of lost that. So I think this is about me redrawing my vision board, if you like, reminding myself why I'm doing this and not wasting time by committing to doing jobs, whether that's work or family, that don't need doing. So we've got past, we've got present. The whole focus on this spread is learning what I need to learn from my haunting card. Perfect card for the future. Feeling safe, feeling vital, feeling confident. Now, when I read this spread, I normally take the 3 center cards to be the core of the meaning, and the cards either side are offering depth, nuance, and detail. Wishes coming true. Slow, steady wins the day. For me, I think these two are really important about not procrastinating through overwork, but focusing on the important tasks and getting on top of it. Taking the time to re-establish what kind of why I'm doing this, the vision. And remaining steady and grounded, because it is we are successful through daily habits. That's the change of life. You just gotta love tarot, right? I mean, this is why I'm never bored with tarot. And this is why I just love the focus of doing several small readings to really understand a situation. There is no sense of disruption in this 9-card spread, but I am haunted by something, by my past. And if I can follow this pattern, follow the pattern of the 3 cards that I open this spread with, I think it's going to make a massive difference to my life. So if you, and I truly believe anybody that reads tarot always gets here, if you are avoiding reading with your cards because you have that one card that just keeps on knocking and you don't want to see it, make friends with it. Build a couple of spreads around it. Because once you have understood the message of that card, it will stop popping up with every spread and you will move on to something else.